Hello YouTubers, how you doing today? Me, I'm doing pretty good today. Finally, we got a beautiful day. Temperature about 75 all day today. It's the highest it went. The dew points are in the 40s. We got rid of that rotten heat and humidity, and I'm enjoying it. So now, I want to do some basic, some very elementary electrical stuff with you. Wire color codes, for those of you who have never done it and would like to know what the different colors represent. What I'd like to discuss today is color codes of electrical wiring. This is an old cord I have, 3-prong cord here, and I stripped out the end here. And what I'm going to do, this is some string to keep the cord strong when you pull it. This is the white wire, which is the neutral. This is the black wire, which is the hot, and this is the green wire, which is the ground, or the ground prong right here. Okay, so as you're looking at the plug this way, okay, you see where it goes into the outlet? This is going to be the hot wire, and this is going to be the cold. This prong is usually wider than this one. As it goes in this way, this is your neutral, and this is your hot. Okay. The way I was taught years ago, I taught myself this. I didn't take electrical up until the very late 60s. I was into the radios before I did the electrical. And the way I taught myself to remember this is green is ground. Just remember the green grass. No, not the green grass of home. Not the song that I did. Green is ground. White is neutral, or the cold side of the line, if you'd call it that. And the way I used to always remember this is white is cold, think of snow. Black is always hot. Now we're talking electrical, we're not talking about car electrical, which usually the car electrical with black would be negative, like a stereo and so forth, putting in a car. We're talking about the electrical. The National Electrical Code says that this here is going to be hot. And the way I thought of this being hot, because when I first started doing electrical, I used to think that the black was cold. And my very first time wiring up something in my workshop, I had to change everything when I found out this is hot, not cold. Think of this as you being fried by electricity and you turning black. It's a morbid thing to think about, but you know what? That's how I thought of this as being, remembering that this is hot. And of course, this is for those of you who know nothing about electrical whatsoever, and of course, the ones that are experienced with this obviously know this and think it's probably even silly to even talk this way. In electrical also, your red wire is hot, just like the black is. So when you're dealing with electrical, such as 220 circuits, you're going to have your ground, your common or neutral, and your 120 here and your 120 here. So one is going to be red, one is going to be black, the other one's going to be white, and then the bare ground wire, which would go on this big fat prong here, because that's your ground tong. And this is for a 220 circuit. This particular one is a 20 ampere. Here is a 15 amps single breaker. This is where your 14 wire will go in under that screw. This screw will take 12 wire. So there's nothing wrong with using 12 gauge wire on a 15 amp circuit. Just don't use a 20 amp breaker on 14 gauge wire, because 14 gauge wire will only carry 15 amps. This is what I call a Murray type breaker, a GE type breaker. This slides into your bus bar, and this hooks into the side of your panel like this, and then goes down like that, and your trip lever's here. When a breaker is tripped, a lot of people don't know this. If a breaker trips on you, sometimes, usually you trip like halfway. What you have to do, alright, let's say it's tripped halfway. Alright, you got to go over and then back again. Okay? You got to go over and then back again to reset it. Also, if you have a breaker that keeps on tripping and there's no heavy current draw, could be that the breaker is defective. They do wear out. Here is another plug. This is a 120 plug is your ground. You have black and white wires go on these terminals, and this would be a type that you'd wire in with, going around the screws with the wires. And you'd usually use stranded wire on these, although I've seen guys put these on the end of Romex to make extension cords out of Romex. This here is a inline socket, which would be used on this type of wire here. This particular wire is, I believe, 18 gauge from the looks of it. My electrical tools are very limited. Most of my tools are over at my cousin's house, helping them do some wiring, and haven't brought the stuff back over. Some Romex connectors. This is for your Romex for 14 wire and 12 wire Romex 3/8. Some wire nuts. For illustration only, I'm going to show you the way to put a wire nut on it, on the two stranded wires here. In order to do that, I'm going to have to set this camera down and try to get it in camera view here the best I can. Okay, the first thing you want to do is to twist these. What I do is I twist them like this, okay? Then I take the wire nut and I finish twisting it. I hope it's in camera view here. My side viewer don't work on this camcorder, so I have to look through the eyepiece. Okay, so you can't turn it anymore. She's tight, and you cannot pull that off. Okay? Now, a lot of guys will tape this, and I do too. You take some tape and you start from, let's see if I can point this out to you here a little bit. You start right here with the tape and go over to here, the width of the tape, and you just go around a couple of 3 times, and that just protects it, because if you should shove that into a box, it's not going to short out on you. There's no wire exposed here, as you can see. It's pretty secure, but still in all, that ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, as they say. So you just go around the wire nut 3 or 4 time turns, and you can go the whole wire nut, but I usually go from the rim back to here, so like 1/4 of the width of the tape here, and the rest 3/4 down to here. This is an old box I had in one of my installations, so I'll just use that as a reference. When you use a box, this is only 3.5. This is not a 4-inch box. This is a 3.5. You're allowed to have 1, 2, no more than 3 cables coming in here. In this box, you cannot use all 4 holes, or the ones in the back. On a 4-inch square box, the bigger ones, the square ones, you can go, I believe, up to 4. I could stand to be corrected on that. Okay, I'm going to enjoy this wonderful day here, and